gents. I thoroughly enjoyed that featherweight main event. Going to focus on Zabit for just a second because he didn't approach that fight the way that I thought he would. Do you agree with me on that?
I do. I thought he played in boxing range a lot more than he needed to and that he perhaps wanted to. I think he got drawn into it. Maybe there's a bit of ego at play there, but I thought he was going to play at the kicking range and then transition straight through to his wrestling. But, you know, we saw good takedown defense from Calvin Kattar. Maybe that discouraged him. But the eagerness to stand in boxing range and test his skills against Kattar was a real surprise to me.
Absolutely. I did not expect him to stand toe-to-toe and gun it out on the feet. On the feet, yes. In boxing range, that close without using his kicks, impressive that he was able to stand in there and hang with Calvin Kattar. And for Kattar, man, I think he needs to hold his head up high. I mean, this is definitely one of the best competitors that he's ever faced. Somebody that I believe could be possibly challenging for the title later in their future.
Are there any question marks around Zabit after tonight for you, Dan?
There are a few, yes. You know, it's that third round is the question. You know, the pressure that he was under from Calvin Kattar leads me to believe that if we had 2 more rounds on the end of that, we could have seen Kattar claw his way back into the fight a little more. I mean, it's a question that we need answering before he steps up to a title shot, and I don't think we can doubt him because the skills that he's got, the dedication he's got to the arts, I feel like he's going to cross that bridge. Yeah. But I feel like we need to see that before he steps in there against Holloway or Volkanovski.
Yeah. But Paul, is he ready now for that title shot, do you think?
I think first he needs to have a main event outside of it being for the title. I think he needs to face another top challenger and go 5 rounds before they go and throw him in there. And normally, I don't always think that's the case, right? If somebody hasn't shown a lack in cardio going into the 3rd round, they're strong in the 3rd round, you have no reason to believe that they would have an issue going into the 4th and 5th rounds. But we've seen it time and time again, well, not time and time again, at least 2 times now, where the gas goes down in the 3rd time now, going to a decision. And that's a problem if you're going to put him in there at somebody like Max Holloway or Volkanovski, who they can go for 25 minutes hard.
And we've got, you know, the big main event coming up in South Korea later in the year. That's a featherweight headliner as well. I mean, there's a good opportunity for him to take on another contender after that if we get a winner of that one.
And in all fairness to him, he's saying that he did have a staph infection, so even him in himself doesn't really know how he's going to feel over 5 rounds. If he comes in 100% clean bill of health and he gets that run out, then he can, you know, really take it to whoever wins that main event at 245. But that's an exciting prospect in itself. On to the co-main event then, in those 2 absolute giants. I think this time let's talk about the guy who didn't come away with the win. Greg Hardy stepping up on just 3 weeks' notice, Paul. Were you impressed by the way he approached this whole occasion?
Yeah, just his whole demeanor and how calm he was, collected. He had good footwork. He was using his jab really well, and it's just ultimately something happened to the right hand, and he wasn't throwing it. There was no real power. And, you know, he didn't get beat up by somebody that everybody kind of counted him out and thought he should go in there and just get dusted and finished. And that was not the case. He was in that fight the whole time. Was he losing? Yes. Was he getting outstruck? Yes. But for a guy that's got, what, 6 fights? I mean, unbelievable.
Yeah, he did a great job of staying in there. And I think we saw adaptability to his game. You know, as you said, he stopped throwing the right hand to an extent towards the end of the fight. He used his jab very well. You know, we know he's durable. We know he's a great athlete. And what that's done is it's shown him where the level is in the top 10, top 15. He takes that back to American top team and he says, these are the things that I struggled with. This is what I would like to learn. And we're going to see him improve very, very quickly.
And the winner of that, Volkov, fighting at home here in Moscow. So much pressure on his shoulders. The upshot of that is he fought a big name in Greg Hardy, but really he was expected to win. He did get the job done, however, but what do we see in his future?
Well, I mean, first of all, he took a big risk, and I think if the card wasn't in Moscow, he may have not taken the fight. I think the JDS fight makes a lot more sense for him. I think if we can get that fight back on, I would like to see it because, you know, with the technical striking that we see from both of these guys, Volkov's excellent at spearing people down the pipe and keeping them at a distance. We've seen JDS is so good at getting on the inside and using those powerful hooks. I feel like that's a question that could be asked by JDS that maybe nobody else in the division could ask.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think that's a fight that you just remake right away whenever JDS is feeling healthy again and ready to get back in there. It makes sense. It answers questions for both guys at heavyweight and see who's going to move on, you know, up the ranks.
He's also put out the name Alistair Overeem, which on the schedule looks very good as well, and that is a fight that I wouldn't be disappointed to see him matched up in. So let's move on to impressive performances then, Dan, starting with you. Which one stands out?
Yeah, I can't pick anybody else other than Magomed Ankalaev. I mean, we saw every facet to his game this evening against someone that, you know, in Dalcha, is an aggressive, powerful athlete that once he gets his hands on you and that judo comes into play is a problem for anybody. But with Ankalaev, we saw him manage distance very well, pick him off at range, trap him up against the fence in the first round, put him down on the floor against the fence in the second, and use some great elbows. And in the third round, I mean, snap front kick to the face, just precision. Epic. Beautiful.
Epic. For me, it's Ed Herman. I mean, the fact that this old dog comes out here, you know, he's so relaxed in the fighter meetings this week. He's just saying he's just doing it because he's still enjoying it. You know, he doesn't know how many more he's going to do. I might hang up my gloves after this one. I might do 2 or 3 more. It's still fun. I'm making money. Why not? And he goes in there and puts on a performance. I mean, he's so calm at this stage in his career. Maybe Dan Henderson was right when he told him, hey, I did my best work at 39 years old. Herman took that, and he put it to work tonight. I mean, he looked great out there.
Yeah. Whatever it takes, wherever you get your motivation from, whatever makes you switch. I mean, that was an inspired performance by Ed Herman. I've got to give a shout out to the UK's Danny Roberts as well. I mean, he made a man turn 180 degrees with that shot. The boxing on display from both fighters, stupendous stuff. Very, very much enjoyed that. I think it's time now that we should look ahead to next week then, and there will be a newcomer to the 205-pound division, and it's a name we know very well, Jacare Souza, Dan, taking on Jan Blachowicz, who we've seen multiple times in Europe. He is one of those guys, so very tough everywhere, but what do you think about Souza moving up?
Well, I think it's going to suit him. I think in the last couple of performances that we've seen from Jacare, you know, it's been a bit laboured. There's been a bit of a lack of energy in his game. And I think moving up a weight class, he's so lean, he's so heavily muscled anyway. I think giving himself that breathing room to not have to be fighting the scales the day before will allow him to show us really what he's capable of. And, you know, Jan's the middleweight beater at the moment. He's just took Rockhold out, welcoming Jacare into the division as well is another way of him getting a big name on his record and holding ground before he gets his title shot.
Yeah, and for Jan Blachowicz, I mean, you got to be thinking this guy's like, what do I got to do to get a 205 or above me? You guys are feeding me all these middleweights. But, hey, you keep knocking dudes out and finishing guys, it's ultimately going to end up getting you towards that title shot. And he's looked fantastic in his last few fights. And I don't see him doing what he did to Luke Rockhold in this fight, but I think Jan's got the skill sets and the ability to keep this fight on the feet and be able to outbox and outstrike Jacare.
Yeah, both fighters super exciting. Cannot wait to watch that one next week. So it's been a fantastic night of fights from here in Moscow. A great second trip from all of us here. It's been a good one.
Hello, everyone. It's Ariel Helwani. I just came here to thank you for watching our ESPN YouTube channel. It's the best. You know what else is the best? The ESPN app. You can get highlights, analysis, all that stuff and more. And if you want premium content and live streaming sports, there's only one place for all of that. It's ESPN Plus.